Welcome back to the Powered by Football podcast, your favourite Power Chair football podcast, hosted by Jackson Taylor. We've got a very exciting interview today with Ryan Seck. Now, I was supposed to let you say your name. Ryan, do you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, I'm Ryan Seck. I'm 17 years old, and I play for the Newcastle Jets Poweroos football team.
So, Ryan, I did introduce you when I was supposed to let you do that. I do apologise. Let's start from the start. What's your history with Power Chair football?
Yeah, so I started 11 years ago in 2014. I was introduced by some of my social workers and friends that went to MD New South Wales camps. I'm currently in my 8th year with the Newcastle Jets.
How did you get involved with the Jets? Like, did they approach you, or did you ask to join them? How did that happen?
It was Dimitri that approached me originally. I was starting out as a plastic guard in my day chair, and I guess he saw something in me and he picked me up to join the Jets.
And you're doing all right now, aren't you? Like, you've
I
gone
guess so, yeah.
gone pretty far. Like, what do you reckon you enjoy the most about this sport now that you've done it for 11 years or so?
Just the social aspect, getting to see my friends and everyone in the sport with similar situations and interests.
The community that's been built out of this sport over the past 10 years especially has been so fascinating. Like, I think, we both started similar times. You started not long after me, and it's been so fun seeing all, like, us and our mates all grow together,
Yeah,
and the whole sport's
it
come so far.
really has, yeah.
Whilst most of this interview, Ryan, I am going to be covering, Poacher football, I did want to take a brief detour as you're also a massive nerd. So I thought I should ask, how is the HSC treating you?
Yeah, so I'm currently in my last year of school at Bonnering High School. It's been really stressful and busy over this year, over the last couple of years as well.
I feel like you've done that to yourself with some of the subjects you've picked, though.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of the hard ones. I do 4 unit maths, physics, chemistry, legal, and English. So my day's pretty busy most of the time. I spend around 6 hours a day after school just doing work.
You're a machine. I don't know how you do it, really.
Oh, I'm not too sure myself either. It just happens and I'm pretty used to it now. So
Even the discipline, Ryan, like it's really, really impressive what you do to make sure you get what you need. And I remember we were having a chat, I think it was last week or something at soccer, and you were disappointed with some marks you got in a test, and I was like, that's way better than anything I could have done. So like you're really kicking goals with that. So good on you.
thank you. Yeah, I obviously hold myself to really high standards academically and it's been paying off so far. So
What's the goal? Like once you get out of school, what are you hoping to get to?
hopefully straight into uni. If I get offers which I've applied for, it'd really help take the stress off.
Have you got a uni in mind?
I've applied to the big ones like UCID and UNSW through the offers. It's mostly been engineering at the moment.
Excuse me. Fancy stuff over here. Going back on track, Ryan, back to, what this podcast is about and, what I'm here to interview you about Power Chair football. You've become one of the most crucial assets, most would say, to one of the strongest sides in Australia. And, as you said before, you're 17. That's a lot of pressure, don't you reckon?
Yeah, at times it can be, but I guess my progression with the team has been gradual but constant. So I've been eased into my current position, my role on the team. So it hasn't been too much of a toll on me.
Yeah, you play confidently, and I think it really shows, obviously, with how much further ahead you are to a lot of your peers at your age and even some older. So I think you're doing quite well for yourself.
Thank you.
One of the reasons too that we're doing this interview, just to give a bit of context for the audience, is that I'm writing an article for university as well on nationals. This interview serves both for uni and for the podcast. So I just want to ask, as we're talking about nationals, how do you feel it went overall, both as you as a player and as, Newcastle as a whole?
Yeah, overall, I think it went pretty well. It started off kind of slow. I had to miss the first couple of games because of school, but considering the circumstances, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, like I think even you missing out, as you said, those first few games, like That was the aforementioned dedication. You had an exam or something, didn't you?
Yeah, I had an exam that day and I had to fly the night off. So yeah, very busy.
I would have just tried to do it when I got back. Like that's some serious dedication from you.
It was too much work afterwards if I had to push
Yeah.
everything.
Obviously, nationals. I think, as you said, you got once you got into it, you got into it. You did incredibly well. Let's not downplay anything, but obviously you did lose a final, unfortunately. What more do you think you guys have to do to win another club championships after getting second 2 years running?
Honestly, I feel like we're doing quite well as we are, just keeping at it and refining our skills in teamwork, which we're doing through training. So firstly, it was what we've done. I said, just got to keep going at it. I want to make an excuse for myself saying I was really, really sick during.
Oh, bro, it's you can say that. I don't mind. There's no, don't worry
Yeah,
about that.
we've proven to be quite strong over the years and we've won many times. Even now, without like marquees, we've done pretty well. So
I think one thing which, I got you to listen to the interview I did with Tom Byrne. We're about to get into another question about that, but before we transition into that question, like one of the things he mentioned was that like, the two teams that you guys did lose to in the finals both basically built themselves up for nationals. You guys without, marquees and stuff probably are stronger than both teams you lost to. So it really is like management of a whole team versus just for nationals. Would you agree with that statement?
I do, yeah. Oh, in the true club, I guess, grand final, which was our semi-finals against the Strikers without the marquees, I guess that was it proved that we were one of the top teams or the top team in that
Mm.
competition without marquees.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think you guys really like you're still really good team, and I think as I was talking about that interview with Tom Byrne before, he discussed how that Melbourne side, who, are filled with a bunch of people you've played alongside, with, Poweroos training and stuff, and how Melbourne were a bit underwhelming at times, not winning games by a large enough margin. And he was like suggesting that the Poweroos at large are going to have to take steps back before they take steps forward. Do you disagree or do you agree with this statement?
Yeah, I definitely agree. At times it was underwhelming on paper. They're a very stacked team, and their results were just lacking at times.
How does that make you feel? Obviously, you're in contention for the upcoming competitions like APO World Cup and stuff for Australia. So seeing that performance of that team, how does that make you feel, being in that discussion?
Obviously, they haven't had much time to play with like Chris Gordon and incorporate him into their system, but I feel we just have to work more closely together in the Poweroos squad and gain that cohesion. And I think we could get really far with our current squad at the moment.
Speaking of that growth of this Poweroos side over the coming years, it isn't just Melbourne with the majority of their players in contention for the Poweroos. Obviously Newcastle Jets had 4 players in the most recent Aussie camp. How do you feel that cohesion and that, togetherness does strengthen the Poweroos?
For me, I felt having a lot of my teammates from my club in the Poweroos squad helped me massively. Obviously, I've been playing with these guys for 8 years plus now, and it's definitely helped me and my performance as a player individually. Just having that instinctual knowledge of what Dimitri and Chris wants from me on the field, I find is massively beneficial to me. That cohesion I feel needs to be built between everyone on the Poweroos squad if we want any chance of challenging the top three teams in the world.
Yeah, like I think it's, obviously Australia getting fourth back in America, what, 7, 8 years ago now, and trying to rebuild and get that spot. I think you've got, there's a bright future, but it's gonna take time. So I think it'll be exciting to see how the future of the sport goes. So, obviously working towards that, how do you feel the Australia camp that went after nationals? How do you feel that that went?
It was a pretty productive camp, I'd say. Everyone was obviously already warmed up after club champs. It was also really exhausting doing another 3 days of intensive training after the 7 days of camp already.
So is it like a lot like full days? Like what happens on the training days?
We rock up pretty early, 9 to 9:30 for a 10 o'clock start, and
Hmm.
we train pretty much until 4 o'clock with only a half an hour, 45-minute break.
Yeah, right. So that's pretty intense, but it obviously, it's the highest level in the country, so you got to do it. It's pretty impressive. So, how do you feel? Obviously, what it being in that camp and stuff, you've been involved with these training camps for a while now. So, how do you feel about both your own chances to make the squad for APO and the World Cup in Argentina, but also just the Poweroos chances at large in both competitions?
I'm beginning to feel quite confident with myself making the squad. The last time I said that, we all know what happened there. For the 2023 World Cup, I was in the training squad for pretty much the entire time, and 2 months out before the World Cup, they decided to make a cut to the team, and I was one of those players cut last second, even though I was playing a pretty huge role, I feel.
How did that make you feel?
Yeah, it was a really big shock to me, and I feel everyone else on the team as well. Yeah, I played a pretty big role. I was the starting center for most of the scrims, and to be dropped off the team was, yeah, just a really big surprise at the time.
Well, you better smash it for APO and all that if you make it, which we're all rooting for you. I hope you bloody get in because you're an awesome player.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the plan.
Like obviously we've got the future of the sport playing, with APO World Cup coming up, but I thought we'd look even wider to finish off this interview, Ryan. So where do you see the sport in 5 years?
Yeah, it'd be nice to see our competition locally, but also nationally grow. Hopefully, there'll be more teams that join us, more players that, yeah, get introduced to the sport and grow. In 5 years' time, we'll be in our next World Cup cycle. So, yeah, lots of things to do and grow.
And where do you reckon, like, I know it's not announced after the Argentina World Cup, but, if you were to pick, where do you reckon?
At the end of this Australia World Cup in 23, there were talks about it potentially being held in England, so I think that'd be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to head up there.
Is there any other predictions you have before we wrap up this interview?
Sorry, not really.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything you want to mention, or is that about it?
No, just thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure.
All good. Thanks for being on, Ryan, and yeah, have a good one.
Okay, thank you.
You can get involved in power chair football here in New South Wales as an athlete, coach, referee, or volunteer by visiting the New South Wales Power Chair Football Association website, linked in the show notes. Our season takes place in Glenwood at the Valentine Sports Park from the 15th of February 2025 to the 12th of July 2025 every Saturday. Contact info@nswpfa.org.au for more information. Just a quick note that the views of this podcast are mine and mine alone. The opinions and thoughts expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the NSWPFA. If you want to get in touch with the podcast, you can follow us at Powered by Football Pod on Instagram, join our Facebook group, Powered by Football Podcast, or follow our Twitter account, Powered by Pod. Thanks for listening.